One goal, one man, tears running down his face, and nobody knew why. June 16th, Kansas City, Missouri, Argentina versus Algeria. 70,000 people in that stadium, millions more watching at home. And Lionel Messi, the greatest footballer who ever lived, scored his first goal of the night. And then he cried, not quietly, not privately, on the pitch, in front of the world, shirt pulled over his face, shoulders shaking. Now, think about that for a second. This is a man who has scored over 800 goals in his career. He has won 8 Ballon d'Or awards. He won the World Cup in 2022. He has stood in bigger moments than almost any human being in sporting history. And he was crying after a group stage goal against Algeria. Why? The crowd assumed it was the record because that goal, his 16th World Cup goal ever, tied him with Germany's Miroslav Klose for the all-time record. A record that had stood for 12 years. That had to be it, right? Except after the match, Messi spoke. And what he said stopped everyone. Why did I cry? It was something completely unrelated to football. He paused. It has been a few difficult days, complicated. That's all he said. He didn't explain, he didn't name it. He just looked down and walked away from the microphone. Here's where it gets stranger. Within hours, Argentine media started reporting what Messi couldn't say out loud. His father, Jorge Messi, 66 years old, the man who took a young Lionel from Rosario to Barcelona at age 13 with nothing but a contract written on a napkin. The man who has managed his son's entire commercial empire for decades. The man Lionel has called his closest person in the world. Jorge had been sick, not just recently sick, sick for months. Argentine journalist Eduardo Feynman reported on Radio Meter, one of Argentina's biggest stations, that Jorge had experienced a serious medical episode at his home back in January. He was hospitalized, cardiovascular tests, neurological examinations. The family said nothing publicly. And then, the week of the World Cup, his condition reportedly worsened. So, here is what actually happened on that pitch in Kansas City. Lionel Messi flew to the United States to play in what is almost certainly his final World Cup. His father, the person who built his entire life alongside him, was back home sick in a hospital bed. And Messi couldn't be there because 70,000 people were watching, because Argentina needed him, because this is what he does. He scores goals even when his heart is somewhere else entirely. Now, subscribe for a second, because what happens next is the part of this story that nobody is talking about. 3 days after that match, June 22nd, Arlington, Texas, Argentina versus Austria. Messi walked onto that pitch again, carrying the same weight, the same silence about his father, the same face that gave nothing away. And he broke the world record, goal number 17, then goal number 18. More World Cup goals than any man or woman in the history of the sport. And this time, he didn't cry. He ran to the corner flag, right arm raised, eyes up, like he was dedicating it to someone who wasn't in that stadium. Think about what that means. This man, at 38 years old, nearly 39, came to this World Cup not knowing if his father would be okay. He scored a hat trick in game 1 while carrying that privately. He broke the all time record in game 2 while carrying that privately. He has not said his father's name once in any press conference, and honestly, you understand why. Because Jorge Messi has always hated the spotlight. He has spent 30 years behind his son, never in front of him. And even now, even sick, even with the world asking questions, the family issued one short statement. Jorge is under medical follow up, evolving favorably. We ask for privacy. That's it. 30 years of building the most famous athlete on the planet. One sentence when it matters most. And honestly, you can't blame them either. Because what would you do if your father was sick? If your job was to play football? If a billion people were watching you do what Messi did? You pull your shirt over your face, you let yourself feel it for exactly 3 seconds. And then you play. Here's the part that should stop you. Messi's next game is June 28th Argentina versus Jordan. Group stage, final match. After that, if Argentina advance and they will, the knockout rounds begin, which means Messi could still play 4, 5, 6 more games at this World Cup, each one potentially his last ever. Each one with his father watching from a hospital or a recovery room somewhere in Argentina. And each time Messi scores, and he will score, he will look up, not at the crowd,